Man, I really feel like there's a connection between us, you know?
Yes, I feel it too.
I'm really glad I met you.
Me too. When the pandemic is over, let's go out and see the world.
Yes, yes, yes. Of course. Of course. That's a great idea. Hey guys, what's up? It's a Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies, and today I am going to do a double movie review where I review two movies. Um, yeah, and these two movies are also movies written and directed by the one and only king of comedy, the Charlie Chaplin of Hong Kong, Stephen Chow, or Zhao Shengqi, one of the most, if not the most, iconic star coming out from Hong Kong ever since the 1990s. Screw it with the Bruce Lee, screw it with the Jackie Chan. Stephen Chow is the new star. If it is the 90s right now. So I didn't just choose to watch these two movies. It was a couple months ago when my aunt and my cousins were at my place, and my aunt was like, "Hey, let's watch a Stephen Chow movie." So since they visited our place, our apartment twice, we watched two Stephen Chow movies. The first movie is 国產凌凌漆, or From Beijing with Love, released in the year 1994. For fuck's sakes. It is essentially a James Bond parody movie, so if you're not a James Bond fan, you would, or at least if you have not seen any James Bond movie, you would be left kind of confused because this movie is very much a parody of James Bond movies. We have the main character, of course, played by the one and only Stephen Chow. We have the love interest, aka the Bond girl. We have the boss who gave this James Bond guy a mission, and actually the boss is secretly evil, and then there's the big macho man who looks really big and strong, and like many other Stephen Chow movies, there is a musical number in the middle of this movie. That doesn't really seem all that out of place. I mean, sure, in any other movies, it's whack. Like, why the hell would there be a musical number in the middle of a James Bond movie? But it's Stephen Chow. That's kind of what you would expect. And yeah, I actually kind of like this movie. Now, this is not like the greatest comedy ever or anything. You know, there are still a lot of flaws when it comes to the writing and directing of the movie. Also, it's important to note that back in the 1990s, not a lot of people, other than maybe Wong Kar-wai, actually cares about art direction. So a lot of these movies look pretty bad and pretty basic for most of the times, and that's just kind of movies in Hong Kong, really, as far as I can see. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But anyways, there are actually a lot of funny moments, hilarious moments, and memorable moments in this movie, left and right. We have the extremely funny scene where the gun shoots backwards, so there's a person who wants to kill the main character not knowing that the gun shoots backwards, and then that character tries to reverse the gun and shoot, and then the gun shoots forward again. That was absolutely hysterical. And then there's a scene towards the end where Stephen Chow doesn't really be afraid of mocking the Chinese military for how corrupt they are, when the Chinese military basically caught the main character, and the main character is like, "Oh my god, I'm about to be killed. I'm about to be executed. Oh no. Wait. I can just bribe them." So that's how he got out of the situation. He bribed them. You know, use your brains, you know. Absolutely hysterical. And before that scene, there's one scene where a person about to be killed suddenly decided to use martial arts and levitate midair just to be shot by a rocket launcher. That was ridiculous as well. So, yeah, lots of hilarious scenes, lots of amazing scenes, and yeah, the plot is flawed and it's not all that memorable, but with that being said, it's still supremely entertaining. I am giving From Beijing with Love strong 7 to a light 8 out of 10. Next movie I'm going to talk about is Sex Son, or the God of Cookery. Eat God. Yeah, this movie is released in 1996, and the plot is basically the main character, of course, played by Stephen Chow, is the absolutely most famous chef in Hong Kong who would eat other people's food and criticize the chefs and their food, and became really famous because of that. But actually, he is a fraud. He doesn't know anything about cooking. He only eats food and pretends to know food when in fact he knows nothing. And he's very mean. He treats people like shit. He doesn't pay people. He's extremely rude. And there are a lot of people who believe in him and he just uses them for his own advantage. You know, he's a terrible person. And suddenly people saw that through, exposed him, and now he's, fired. He's not the God of Cookery anymore. Someone else had replaced him, and that someone else is just as mean and just as terrible. And the main character, played by Stephen Chow, basically tries to climb back up the ladder of the culinary universe in Hong Kong, and then tries to go back up and win the cooking competition. And yeah, first of all, the plot is nowhere near as memorable as the James Bond parody movie or the Shaolin football movie that I previously talked about a long time ago. And by long time, I mean 12 million years, aka a few months ago. And yeah, the plot is even more flawed in this movie. There is a female side character who seems to be important, except throughout an entire chunk of the movie, she doesn't exist. She's just not there. She just leaves, and then she comes back at the end. What for? I don't know. Also, I guess it's kind of weird that the main character would suddenly go from someone really mean and terrible and rude to someone who's actually good. Like, the story just doesn't really build up that character at all. It just doesn't seem believable at all. And then at the end, of course, martial arts is somehow involved, and it's hilarious and also kind of strange because it doesn't really tie into cooking at all. The whole movie has a lot of funny moments, don't get me wrong, but the plot is just not as memorable, and there are just many flaws in the plot. And I guess I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yes, it's funny, but it just eh, eh. Feeling a strong 6 on this thing. So, have you watched these two movies from 1 to 10? How much did you rate them? Like if you like them, hit if you hate them, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.